Bill and Barry's Low Budget Podcast, episode number 1. This episode is called, Who the Hell Are Bill and Barry?
This is Bill and Barry's Low Budget Podcast. I don't reckon I know what a podcast is, but whatever it is, this here is one. And now, two fellers that make a cow go oink and a pig go moo, Bill Watt and Barry Patilla.
Well, welcome into Bill and Barry's Low Budget Podcast.
Low budget
we're back
it is.
Together. I thought we had this relationship annulled a few years back, but it's been how long now? 20 years?
25 years. We did a, Bill and I did a radio show together. When did we start, though? Was it 1993?
I believe it was, actually, I think 91 or 92.
And the show went until the year 2000, when we were unceremoniously split apart.
I was escorted out the building.
You were, by armed security agents. And we have not worked together since, as far as on the air. We've not worked together since. And 25 years later, we decide, hey, let's get together and see if we can put a podcast together. We knew it'd be a low-budget podcast, and that's why we call this Bill and Barry's Low Budget Podcast. Actually, that's a stretch. It's really no budget.
Well, we've never had a budget.
Well, that's true.
We've never had a budget to start with.
No, we've never. We did the radio show. It was a small-town radio, a small market, very small market. But we did pretty well, though.
We did. We were up against the big guys, and I thought we did pretty well considering that, we're in a small town.
Yeah, the big guys out of Birmingham, and again, no budget, really no promotion, no nothing. But we managed, in our opinion anyway, I thought we held our own. Others, I think, might have disagreed, but I think we did pretty well.
And I think in this day and age, when everybody is doing a podcast, why can't we?
Yeah, because some of the there's some great podcasts out there, but I've heard some that are not so great. So I figure we can at least do one that's not so great, right?
Well, sure, absolutely. I'm not setting the bar very high. We never have set the bar very high.
No, we haven't.
Why start?
Exactly. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the old days, going to talk about topical new stuff, headlines, all that good stuff. But it'll be a lot of fun. And again, it's low budget. I was reading up on how to do a podcast. Well, everything's got to be perfect. The sound's got to be perfect. Can't have any background noise. I'm doing this upstairs in my spare bedroom. Got a little studio set up. You might hear the dog barking downstairs. I'm not worried about it.
Right.
I don't care. It's no big deal.
I'd like this to be, I'd like this to be kind of like, like the guys that gather at Jack's.
Yeah, every morning you got a group of people, and they've been doing this for years and years and years. Jack's is a regional burger chain, if you don't know, in the Birmingham area in Alabama, and some in Georgia, Mississippi. But they every morning they have coffee and just sit around, and I don't know that they do a lot of talking. They just kind of sit and stare at each other. But yeah.
Yeah. I think that we could do that.
We could.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. But there's a lot of we were on for a long time, and we became rather notorious for as we're moving towards April here. April Fools was my favorite time of year.
We did some really great April Fools pranks over the years. We got media attention out of Birmingham TV. We got the local paper for some of the things we did. What was your favorite? But hey, before we go on, let me say this. We're aware that my audio is better than Bill's. Bill's calling in over the phone. We are going to address that in future episodes, and Bill's audio will sound better. But again, it's a low-budget podcast. We get some money coming in. I might, we might buy Bill a decent microphone or something. Might not. I might go out to dinner.
I think, I'd like to start with this first episode. Let's start a GoFundMe campaign to get me a mic.
I think we're going to do give some PayPal information if folks want to support the channel, and give information how businesses can sponsor the podcast. Just wanted to mention that because I know it's obvious that there's a difference in audio quality. Again, not worried about it, but we're going to address that. Back to the April Fool's pranks. What was your favorite?
Of course you're not going to worry about it.
Nah, there's nothing.
Of course you're not going to worry about it because it's me, because it's my mic. It's my mic you're not worried about.
And you realize
you sound just fine. It's my mic.
And I can cut you off here anytime because I got the volume for your mic here, and so I mean.
Actually, actually, what I want people to know, what I want them to realize, is that I'm calling from a payphone. A payphone, actually, the last operating payphone in the state of Alabama at the Townley rest stop outside of Jasper.
Yeah, and that's a very famous place. It's what it says, like a love seat and a commode. And what else was out there at the Townley rest area?
I think a coffee table, but that's about it.
It's just on side of the road. Is that still there? I thought it caught on fire or something. Did they rebuild it?
I think they've allocated. I think Tommy Torville is he's allocated some state funds to rebuild it.
Yeah, we get money for that, but cut everything else. So that's great. They can go to the thrift store and, spend $25 and rebuild it. I think it'd be great.
I think it needs to be a historic landmark.
It should be. But it was kind of a funny thing to see. And it had a big sign, Townley Rest Area, that somebody just wrote in magic marker or something. And it was really funny. It was just on the side of the road. Like, the interstates have the big rest areas. So this little town, this little city needed their own. And so somebody put a love seat and a commode out in the middle of the yard there and a coffee table. And I wonder if anybody ever stopped. I'm sure they did.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did. But that's American innovation right there.
It really is.
Small town, why can't you have a rest stop?
They weren't asking for money. They didn't want a donation or anything. They just wanted to provide a comfortable place for people to rest on a little back road and a little 2-lane back road. And I thought it was terrific. If it's not there, I wish they would rebuild it. That'd be great.
Right there on a curve, too. Rather dangerous.
It was because if a big truck or something comes around the curve and loses control, they're going to slam right into the rest area.
You wouldn't waste any time on the toilet.
No, you'd take care of business and head on up the road. But yes, your favorite April Fool's prank we did, because we did some good ones. We had some really good April Fool's pranks that we pulled on our radio show.
Yeah, I think if I had a favorite, and I've now that I teach at a local junior college here at Bevel State, I've told my speech students about this because I do tell them we talk about persuasion all the time and how scary it is what people will believe. And social media proves this every day.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, you can convince enough people of something and it turns into a cult.
Yeah, and anyway, I think my favorite is the first one we did. I think the first one we did was actually around 95 or 94.
Yeah.
And it was, we had actually put together, and the secret to pulling this off was the fact that you didn't talk about it, because that would make it kind of people would say, they're just talking, it's April Fool's. But we put together a commercial about the battleship Alabama.
Yeah.
Making its way a tour of inland waterways in the state, and was docked at the Warrior River Bridge, which was, about 5 miles outside of Jasper. And people went down there to see it.
And, there is no way on God's green earth that the battleship USS Alabama could travel up a river. I mean, the bottom would be the river is not deep enough. It would be scraping the sides of the riverbanks on both sides. But again, you're right. You don't discuss it a lot. You don't talk about it on the air. You just run that 30-second commercial. People hear it. People showed up to see it.
Right. And then a guy called action until I got halfway down there. I realized it's not 20 feet of water. There's no way that'd be down there.
Yeah. April Fool's prank. And they realized it, but people went and they sat there and they waited. And I'm sure they looked at their watches and like, well, where's the boat?
Actually, I do believe that was 94, because in 95, we had, because in 1996, if people remember, for those of you old enough to remember this, the Olympics was in Atlanta.
Yes.
And we had the Olympic torch making its way across America and was going to come through Jasper. Actually had a parade, actually a route where it was going to go.
Right.
And we had people line up on Highway 78 in Carbon Hill outside of Jasper to see the torch go by. And of course, it was 95. The torch was nowhere to be found.
No, it was the next year. Is that right?
Yeah, the next year.
It was 95.
Right.
So yeah, they don't do these things a year ahead of time. So that was good. That was pretty fun. But there were a lot of cars lined up, because that would be a big deal to actually see, but you're going to have to wait another year. And I don't know if it ever actually came through here. I doubt it, but it certainly didn't in 1995.
The last one we did, we had assigned, there's a little a town It's not incorporated as a town, but it's a rather large community, Curry, outside of Jasper.
Right, and a lot of people live in Curry, but again, it's not an actual town; it's just a community.
Yeah, and it's not been incorporated, but they've got a lot of business there, and they just had a shopping center open there about this time. This was in 1999.
And that was a very big deal for those people to get that shopping center. It was a big deal. You had a big grocery store. You had some smaller stores, some and spaces for additional stores that would come. But it was a very, they were very proud of it.
And had a right to be. But there were always concerns that somehow Jasper was going to annex Curry.
Yeah.
And so we had a sign made up. This guy made up a very professional-looking Jasper city limits sign.
Green with the white writing, yeah.
And we went out there that morning, and it had rained the night before. It was a terrible, it was awful, but it was worth it. We actually put the sign right across from the shopping center, right as you were leaving Curry, and it said Jasper city limits.
Right on the other side of that shopping center, right where Jasper had seemingly incorporated or annexed land in to take that shopping center away from Curry.
Yeah, and there were people that went in to complain rather vociferously at the Curry Ace Hardware, which is part of that shopping center.
Right.
The mayor at the time actually had to call the police, had to get the people out there to actually some city folks out there to go take the sign down because people complaining about it.
Yeah, because people were calling Jasper City Hall, and I remember somebody at City Hall said, they had a bunch of calls, but one guy called and said, Curry finally gets something nice, and Jasper going to take it away from us, and it was that sort of thing, and it was, a picture of that sign was on the front page of the local newspaper that afternoon.
Yeah, made you proud, didn't it?
It did. And it said, I think the little story said something like, we're not exactly sure where the sign came from. Maybe it was Kathy Chambliss at City Hall, and she said something like, we're not exactly sure, but it sounds like Bill and Barry.
Yeah, well, but it was another proud moment. So that was one of the more than a few things we did.
And I think Channel 13 came. Didn't they come and film that? That was the year they came to the station and did a little thing on that.
Because that was the only time we did several pranks at the same time.
Was that we did a Y2K thing. That would have been 99, I guess, wasn't it? Free Y2K survival packs.
Right, and we had them being distributed at the local farmers market.
A lot of people showed up for that. A lot of people, and people were mad.
Yeah, because there was so much concern about Y2K at the end of the millennium, the beginning of this new millennium, and all the computers are going to go haywire and stuff,
Yeah, no water. People were digging wells in their front yard or backyard because you weren't going to be able to get, the utilities, the city water. And so, people were panicked, and then nothing happened. But, people showed up for those survival packs. I don't know. What was supposedly in the survival packs? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I think we had some kind of fruit tree that you could plant in your backyard. I think there was.
Yeah.
Each tree or some crap like that. I can't remember what it was.
Maybe a couple of canned food items or something. I don't know.
Yeah, some food. I don't know, but it was ridiculous. But so that was another proud moment.
But we got pranked on that too. You remember, right at the end of our air shift, Jasper City Police came and arrested us because of that prank. Do you remember that? They put us in handcuffs. They put us in the back of the car and said, how dare y'all fool all these people? These people came expecting to get something, and it was terrible. And I'm thinking, it's April Fool's, but then you're thinking, is this real? Because they drove us all the way down to the police station in the back of the car before they told us it was an April Fool's thing.
I blocked that out of my mind. I'd forgotten that.
Did you forget about that? We were arrested, and then they took us back. I mean, it was, but it was a little bit scary there for a minute or two.
Well, thanks for bringing that up because I won't sleep well tonight thinking about that.
Yeah.
I'd completely forgotten about that.
Yeah. The only time I've been in the back of a police car, and it had to be with you.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it's the only time you've been in the back of a police car.
Well, my dad was a police officer, so we'd ride to school in his police car when I was a little kid. But other than that, I have not been in the back of a police car.
But anyway, we had a lot of fun. Used to do a lot of remotes back in the day, remote broadcasts from various places around Jasper and around the surrounding area.
Those were fun because we got to meet a lot of people and make some friends and meet the listeners. And you remember every Wednesday night at a local club, I did back in the mid-'90s when the line dance thing was big. I did a 2-hour show from a local club doing line dance music, playing it, and doing live broadcast from there on the air. And it was that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, you've always been quite the dancer. I mean,
no, I didn't actually dance. But the one thing I remember about it is that the walls were carpeted and people could smoke in there. And when you left, you smelled the smoke was so bad. I had to get a shower as soon as I got home.
Well, the old station we used to work at, also the walls were carpeted too, and that.
Kind of the same thing.
There wasn't a pleasant odor in that building either. No,
especially on the AM side, because you had people, and if you want to smoke, that's fine. But there's just those carpeted walls, and the walls were carpeted for soundproofing and acoustic treatment, but it held in that smoke.
And you have to admit, carpeted walls, there's a certain ambiance with that.
Well, especially the old AM studio that had that 1960s yellow shag carpet on the walls. Man, that was nice.
Was very nice.
Yeah. Now the FM though was it was much. It had a brown. It wasn't a shag carpet when we built the FM studio in the mid-'90s or whatever, early '90s or whatever. But it was a lot nicer. But that AM studio. But you miss it. I miss the old days of doing an actual radio show in a studio because now it's so different. Because you go into a radio station now, and I have been in a radio station fairly recently. Nobody's working. Everybody works from the salespeople work from home. They've cut expenses to the point where there's no receptionist. It's like an empty building almost. It's crazy. And it's really sad because when you played records, you had to be there every 3 minutes to start the record. Now everything's on computer. You can have an empty building for a week. Yeah. It's sad. It really is.
Yeah, it is. Of course, you and I, I'm a little older than you are. And I remember
just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit. But yeah, playing records. Of course, part of the tricks of the trade, playing vinyl records back in the day, you looked for opportunities to play Stairway to Heaven in longer versions so you could get bathroom breaks.
Yes. And I remember one time, this was when I was probably 16 or 17, I just started in radio, and we had a special radio station record that had a bunch of songs on it. It would last 30 minutes. You could play it. So I said, hey, I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to run over to, we mentioned Jack's earlier. We had a Jack's near this radio station where I worked, and I'm going to go through the drive-thru and get some food and come back. And so I'm in the drive-thru line. I'm waiting for my food, and the record hangs up. It starts, and not skipping, but it hangs up like oh my God, it just over and over. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to be in so much trouble. But that's the, kind of thing that we dealt with.
Well, that makes me think about, remember Larry King? Larry King used to be on
Larry King
years and years with his CNN. Larry King.
Yes.
Larry King Live.
Uh-huh.
But he tells the story about when he was working at a small station in Miami, I think, and he was playing a religious show on vinyl, and got this call from a woman, and he was pretty young. He wanted to, this woman sounded intriguing, so he put this on. It was about a 30-minute program or whatever. Was on the. He goes to this woman's house. He goes in. She's listening to the radio, of course, because she had called him. And as he goes in, he hears the show, and it's going, "Go to hell, go to hell, go to hell."
Just hanging up on that one line.
Yeah.
Hell. Go to hell. That's good. That's funny.
That's karma. That's karma.
It is. He shouldn't have been there. You ever left the studio to go meet up with a female?
No, I have not ever done that.
You always waited till after the show, so that's good. I'm glad.
No, I've left to go to a McDonald's or Hardee's or Back in the day, we had Quincy's next to our station.
Yes, we did.
So, but now,
do you miss those big fat yeast rolls, Bill?
Oh, big fat yeast rolls. Yeah,
they were good. They were good.
Well, just I've reached an age now where big fat yeast rolls, I can't eat those anymore.
Hey, I've reached an age, and it's funny that this happened on the day that we're recording this podcast. You're not going to believe what I got today. Take a guess. I know you're going to say something. Yeah, I got something today, and I'm just so happy, full of joy. Take a guess as to what I got today.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I know you like waffles. I don't know. Is there something to eat?
I knew you were going to go that route. I knew. No, guess what I got? I got a handicap parking card to hang from the mirror.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
A handicap park.
I did. I have issues with my feet and legs. My doctor's been trying to get me to do it. And here's what happened. So I get it. And we leave the DMV, the wife, Trina, and I, and we have to run into the Mega Mart to get something for dinner. And so I drop her off at the door because her puppy is in the back seat. So the puppy apparently has to, if we leave the house, the puppy apparently has to leave the house too now. So I'm in the car, and so I'm looking for a handicapped parking space. But it's spring break here at Panama City Beach, where I am. And there's no handicapped parking spaces, right? There's none. So I'm a little aggravated because I really wanted to try it out. So finally I find one, and I pull in there, and I'm like, oh, man, handicap parking space. Fantastic. But, I don't stay in it because I'm not going in. So I'm just in there a few seconds, pulled up. But I wanted to try it out. So I just,
I'm happy for you.
That might be the biggest thing that's happened to me in the 25 years since we've worked together, getting that handicap parking thing.
Look, you're not fooling me. You've had that handicap parking sticker for some time.
No, today is the day. First time.
This is not the first.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's not the first time I've parked in a handicap parking space, but it's the first time I've done it legally.
Legally? Okay,
yes.
See, there we go. No. That's what I thought.
No. I've never done that. And let me tell you something while I'm on the subject, because, I work in retail. That's my day job. And look, this is happening a lot because of spring break. The handicap scooters. There are customers who need those desperately, but we got kids on spring break having scooter races in the parking lot. And that is a pet peeve. That makes me mad. And people just riding them around that don't need them. Look, folks, if you don't need the handicap scooter, leave them for people who need them. Huh?
They don't go that fast anyway.
Well, the kids don't seem to mind as long as they can race them. It's not like they're souped up or whatever.
I mean, I'm not defending them. I'm not just saying.
Oh, I think you are. Hey, that sounds like a fun time to me. I'm going to come down there and do that out in the parking lot. I'm going to get me a scooter and I'm going to race on it. Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. You're defending them. I know what you're doing. You probably do You probably do it there in Jasper.
This may be a trend. I don't know.
We might start the trend.
I tell you, I'm glad you brought it up because something aggravates me and this just happens at one certain place. I won't mention the place and give them free publicity here. Of course, We all know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But when you go to pick up groceries at a place, you order to pick up groceries at a place, and there's designated parking spaces to do that.
Correct.
But there are people that go there and park there and then walk in the store.
I see it all the time, yes.
So ticks me off.
Yeah, I was waiting for some one day, and somebody came, got their groceries in the store and went in and put them in their car and left. And those are designated, again, like you say, for pickup, grocery pickup or whatever, not for you to park in and go inside.
Since you brought up vehicles, personal car tags get on my nerves, too.
I've seen a few that are a little bit ridiculous, yeah. What does your personal car tag say?
I don't have a personal car tag. I just have a car tag.
Oh, you should. Okay.
I don't have a personal car tag. I don't want a personal car tag.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, I don't care. I don't care who's your hubby.
Yeah.
I mean, I just I mean, these personal car tags.
Right.
Not to say that I'd be doing anything illegal, but I'm saying that if you were on the lam, so to speak, if you were on the run, so to speak, then a personal car tag would be easier to find you.
Right.
Right.
You would see the car tag and say, well, that might be who we're looking for. And something else I've never understood about people on the lam, they don't seem to drive the speed limit. If I'm a wanted fugitive, I'm going to obey every traffic law that there is because I don't want to bring attention to myself. But you see in the movies, they're speeding and they're driving recklessly. And you're asking to get pulled over. Yeah. But if I'm wanted, which I'm not, there are no warrants. If I'm wanted, I'm driving the speed limit and I'm wearing my seatbelt and I'm not going to get pulled over. Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing, I don't know if it's like this in Panama City, but I know here in Walker County that people did not know how to go through a median.
No. That's universal, I think.
It's like, I mean, this is pretty simple. I have a theory as to why that the case is. You understand what the theory is?
What's that?
I have a theory as to what the problem is. Driver's ed. Now, again, I'm not saying all coaches, but coaches teach driver's ed, right?
They do. Normally, it's a coach or someone like a coach that's teaching driver's ed. Yes.
Yes. Now, I'm sure some do take it very seriously, but most more often than don't.
Right.
And what do you get at the end of a driver's ed course? You basically get your license.
Yeah, it helps if you've got that. If you passed or did well on that driver's ed course, it helps.
And usually, if I ask students what they do in driver's ed, they say, "Well, we went to Jack's, or we ran some errands."
Jack's. That's good.
I mean, really. But and then some may never do anything.
Wow.
But that's like also, why does it make any sense? I think this is right, and somebody I'm sure will correct me on this if I'm wrong. But to get a boating license, there's an online test, and you got to be 12.
12?
12.
Wow.
12.
That's crazy. Because you hear about a lot of fatal boating accidents. I think that's a little young. And here, also like a lot of people drive golf carts on the back roads. You can't drive them on the main 4-lane. There's certain roads, but a lot of the other roads. And I don't know what that, maybe 14. I don't know. But I think that's ridiculous because you are on a highway. You're on a road with a lot of traffic, and you got a 14-year-old or whatever driving a golf cart. I could be wrong. Maybe they raised it to 16. I don't know. But it's young people driving around with a lot of other young people on a golf cart, and that's kind of dangerous.
Hey, I got a story I want to share with you. I want to see what you think here.
Go for it.
Apparently, I saw this headline, and it intrigued me. Tennessee man shot by his dog while lying in bed.
Shot by his dog. Man, that was one ticked off dog.
He says, now, I want you to listen to the way this is described. This is the scenario, okay?
All right.
This happened in Tennessee, of all places. This guy named Gerald Kirkwood reported to police in Memphis that he and a woman were lying in bed with a firearm.
Okay, I got to stop you right there. And I was like, okay, why are you in bed with a firearm? But go ahead.
When his dog jumped up and inadvertently caused the weapon to discharge.
Wow. Just landed right on the trigger, I guess, and there it went.
And it grazed the man's left thigh.
Could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, it could have been. The dog's name was Oreo.
I don't know the significance of that, but okay. So Oreo shot his owner. That's good. That's good. It was an accident. I hope that the guy will forgive old Oreo there.
But anyway, apparently this is a problem. There's a guy who actually was shot by his pit bull Labrador mix.
Yeah. Well, they say pit bulls are dangerous, and this right here is a proof.
So, but anyway, it just struck me the fact that you're in bed and your dog shoots you. Well, why have you got a firearm in bed?
Yeah, I don't quite get that. I mean, they're laying on the bed. They got a gun. I guess it's in between them or so. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but kind of a tough one to explain. I'm sure it was a tough one for him to explain, too, to the authorities.
Yeah. It didn't really identify the woman, but I'm sure she didn't want to be identified.
Right. No, I wouldn't want to be identified, I don't think. What if you're cheating on your spouse and you get in a situation like that, something happens, and you're going to be on the news? You are going to be your name's going to be released. So-and-so got shot, and his companion, so-and-so, give the name. I mean, karma.
Yeah.
Not good.
It would be.
It would be bad.
Not a good. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you because I want you to think that through with me because it just seemed awfully strange.
I'm going to think about that, and we'll try to figure it out. It does seem very strange, almost as strange as some of the things you've done in the past, but we don't have time to go into that. But as a matter of fact, we don't have a whole lot of time left, so, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, Bill, getting back with you after 25 years.
We'll do it again another 25 years. Every 25 years, we'll do one show.
We're going to do one show every 25 years. So in 25 years, it'll be like, I'm Barry. Who are you?
Maybe we need to do a little nursing home tour.
I think that would be great. I think they could relate to you, Bill.
This has been fun.
It has. And
we'll have to do it again.
We will, maybe every couple of weeks we'll do a podcast as the plan. Maybe. Plans change. But we are going to work on it. And again, this is a low budget. As we explained at the first of the show, it's a low-budget podcast. We're going to work on Bill's audio, get him sounding a little better. We're going to figure it out. Well, we got no money. That's the thing. We got no money. And as a matter of fact, if you're a business and you'd like to sponsor the our podcast, if you like what you hear, by all means, join us. It's Bill and Barry Podcast at gmail.com is our email address. All lowercase, Bill and Barry Podcast at gmail.com. I left out the low budget there because that was a little bit lengthy for an email address.
I understand. We were hoping to get some federal money, but with the Doge stuff going on, we know it's not going to happen.
We had $125,000 lined up, and then we got notice that it was gone. And if you would like to donate to our cause, we would certainly love that as well. You know, if you like what you hear, donate. If you didn't like what you hear, donate more, and maybe we can afford to do a better show. You can PayPal at capital B, capital P, at B Patella. At B Patella. And if you want to donate to Bill, just go to his house and knock on the door. What's your address, Billy?
I'm not giving my address.
And if you don't like what you hear, go to Bill's house, knock on the door. When he opens it, punch him in the face and say something like, "Oh, the podcast sucked, man. It sucked."
Well, it's been fun.
It has been fun. We'll do it again here in a couple of weeks, but I hope you've enjoyed our first kind of a learning experience for us, kind of feeling things out, but it was a lot of fun, and we'll be back with another Bill and Barry's Low Budget Podcast here in a couple of weeks.
Ciao.
This has been Bill and Barry's Low Budget Podcast. This has also been a total and complete waste of your time. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we'll be back soon with another Bill and Barry's Low Budget Podcast.